All right, let's go over problem for chapter 7, problem 8a. So let's go to here. I like to usually copy over the information. It makes it a lot easier hitting Alt Tab than scrolling up and down all the time. So this problem is asking us to prepare a cash budget January and February, and all this information is really important when doing a cash budget because the only thing you're really looking to put into a cash budget is what's going to affect your cash account, kind of what your cash flows, kind of similar to cash flow type stuff. So to start us off, I mean, you got the format here on Wiley. So cash budget always ends for the months or for the year. It's not just a certain date and time, it's going over a period in time, so that's where it goes. And we're going to do the 2 months ending February 28, 2017. So the beginning information, we look through all of this. You just got to start going by the very first point in time, which would be January 1st. So we're trying to look here and it says, oh, company's cash balance on January 1st for the budget is expected to be 47,000. So we're going to put that in right here for 47,000. And after that, we add all cash receipts. Now these are not just your sales, but it's going to be actual cash inflow into the company. So we're going to take our, and it says here in our information of other data, collections from customers, and that usually goes first. So I put that first, collections from customers in January of $328,000. So I put that there. Next, in our other data as well, it talks about some notes receivable we're going to receive in January of $17,000. And that's why we put it here. And in the instructions, it says if nothing occurs in the other month, make sure you put a 0 and not just leave a blank. So I put 0 in February. We're only going to get some notes, some cash on notes receivable in January, according to the other data. The last one is over here as well in the other data, which is these proceed from sales of securities for $5,000. And that goes there in the month of February. And I inputted that before I went through everything just because it was right there in the other data. And as I'm filling out these things here, it just makes it easier to get the information onto here. So then after you get all of your cash receipts, you can kind of tell Wiley Plus, it's kind of a indent there, so you know, oh, hey, and a line right there, okay. So that means we need to total something up. So you put total receipts after you get all the cash receipts you're going to receive for a month. So total receipts goes there. And this is the sum of all of those, $345,000 of cash inflow. So our total available cash is our beginning cash balance plus all of that cash receipts that we're going to receive in the month of January. So we have $392,000 in cash. Now we got to go and do some subtractions of all the cash disbursements that we have throughout the year. So cash disbursements, and this also states here, all sales and purchases are on account, so we don't even have to worry about the numbers here on our sales or our purchases. That's why we did collections from customers at the beginning instead of the actual sales. So we don't need to even worry about this data right here. We could pretty much just delete it and be okay with our cash budget. So in our other data, if we look here, actually before it says all other expenses are paid in the month incurred, except for administrative expenses, which include 1,000 of depreciation per month. Okay, so our salaries are going to be included on cash disbursements of $83,000. Bam, right there. And then selling expenses as well, $78,000 occurred in the month. Bam, right there, we paid that out. Administrative expenses now, even though it says here all other expenses are paid in the month incurred except for administrative expenses, I had to kind of figure that one out because I got it wrong the first time, and then but I put a 0 there because it says they're not incurred, but they are actually administrative expenses do get expensed out per month on a monthly basis. The only thing we're going to exclude is always depreciation. You don't include that because that's not an actual outflow. That's more just an account to get things to their current value. So we take our administrative expenses minus 1,000, get 69,000 there. Purchases, this comes from the other data. And this is another one I got wrong. I didn't I don't know what I was thinking, but I didn't even look at the number 2 here, which was my bad. Make sure you look at the other data. So payments for purchases, January, $100,000. Forget about this number here. It doesn't even matter. If we didn't make any payments, we wouldn't have put anything there. But we made $100,000 of payments, so we put it there. Now, you had to add one more line in before we did a tally, so I thought, where did that come from? And I looked here in the notes, and it says right here on number 4, other disbursements, $12,000 cash dividend. So I put the dividend in here and put it in under February because that's where it comes in at. It says in the other notes in February. So we tally all the total disbursements of $330,000. You do, and then you go to the excess or deficiency of available cash over disbursements. And we had an excess of cash this month, or in January, of $62,000. Now you go to the financing section, and there's always borrowings and repayments. You can get more technical and add interest into repayments and things like that, as I'm sure we will here in the future in this class as well. So for January, it turned out to be 0 because if we look here, the company wants to maintain a minimum cash balance of $59,000, and we already have reached that at $62,000. So we're not going to borrow, and we're not going to repay any of our debts. I'm guessing. I mean, I guess we could repay $3,000 of debts, but it doesn't say anything about it, so we're not going to do it. So then we get to February. Your ending cash balance from the last month is your new beginning balance for the next month. Same thing, collections from customers came from our other data. We had no notes receivable in January in February like we did in January. And same with sales of securities. We had $5,000 this month, and this all comes from the other data. We had $5,000 this month and none in January. The total receipts then, you tally all that up, $383,000 for February. You add in the cash balance beginning for February, and you have $445,000 cash in February available. Now you get your disbursement section. Salaries expense comes from above, up here, $81,000. You got your selling expense of $86,000. Now you got your administrative expenses, $73,000, minus, again, the $1,000 depreciation on a monthly basis, $72,000 there. Purchases, get that from the other data. February, we paid out $140 of payments for purchases. Has nothing to do with the $400,000 or the $130,000. We paid off some of January's in February. I'm assuming so, and even maybe in December and so on and so forth in the back till we make payments. Anyways, so dividends, that was in the other disbursement section of $12,000, which we did not have in January. So our total disbursements this month is $391,000. I guess not this month, but February. So our excess deficiency in February comes out to be $54,000 of excess of available cash over disbursements in this month in our budget. So we want to end every single month at $59,000 at least. We can have more, but we cannot have less. They do not want less. So according to the budget, we're going to be borrowing financially from the bank, whatever you want to say you're borrowing it from though, but you're going to borrow $5,000 to make sure we have the minimum cash balance of $59,000 in the month of February. And that is it for the problem. Hope you guys understood and figured it out pretty good. Thanks for watching.